Hey, I'm Scott Allen Miller. This is Sheep Guarding Llama for November 23rd, 2019. And today is, obviously, I'm not recording this on the day as I normally do not, simply because how do you record the day's events on the same day? It's not very easy because by the time the day's over, it's time for bed, not time to be making a video, especially if the day's busy. Anyway, so today we started the day in Peoria, New York at my father's house. Hi, Dad. He's probably the only person who watches this anyway. And um, we were hoping to get out of the house early this morning, but there was some stuff we needed to do, and everybody was really tired because, of course, it's a travel day, so everybody has insomnia, as always happens. So we didn't really get on the road until, I believe, about 9:30. I'm not totally sure. Maybe it was early. Maybe it was 8:30. But we got up just a little bit after 7 and got ready to go, and the car packed and everything, fed the kids, and got everything ready, said goodbye to Dad, got a little bit of time to hang out with him this morning. He had a men's prayer group that he ended up not going to so that he could see everyone off. He had been hoping to be able to make it because Dominica and I were hoping to be on the road at 7:30 or 8 as we normally are, but the insomnia just made that very hard, and I had a little bit of work that I had to do this morning, so was doing that. But we got on the road. And I should mention it's Saturday, right? So, but we have a huge migration going on in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and that's where Paul is. Paul flew up yesterday, and he's there today, tomorrow, and is coming back to Texas on Monday. We're hoping to be able to get him from the airport because we should be back because we're leaving now. So we got on the road at a good time this morning. And got moving, drove up through Batavia, took the thruway. Because it's winter, we're taking the southern route, which is actually the fastest technically, although we've made our best time going through Canada. So there's kind of a lower, middle, and northern U.S. route, and then the super northern Canadian route. And the Canadian route seems to actually get the best time, even though Google says it should not. The southern route is supposed to get the best time, but it always has the worst construction, so I never trust it. I also don't like the drive as much. But that's the way we're going because of storms. So we went out through Ohio and down through Columbus, through Cincinnati, Louisville to Nashville, and made really good time today. No real big anything to report. We had a little bit of breakfast that we brought with us, mostly leftovers, and we stopped at a Tim Hortons on the thruway. I picked up breakfast for Luciana. She had a bagel and got another. So her favorite donuts, she's been having them all week, are the Tim Hortons hazelnuts. She's actually tired of them. She ate yesterday's, and that was it. The one I got her today, she couldn't have another donut, which is great that she got tired of them. But they're a special one-time donut that they're not going to have again at Tim Hortons, so who knows if she'll ever have it again. So this is her week of her all-time favorite donut, and this video mentioning it may be the only recording of this in all eternity. She may never get them again, which is very sad. But so at least she got a whole bunch of them this week to the point where she was tired of them. At least we have that. And we did remember to take our leftovers with us today, so we have loads and loads of Mooney's mac and cheese that we are transporting back to Texas. Hopefully it makes it. Let's see. So the drive went well. I spent a lot of the drive on the phone supporting Alan and Paul in doing the migration up in Saskatoon, which is not going well. That was a very, very stressful day. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. We're doing an in-place server upgrade, so this is very high stress that the server has to be backed up, blown away, and rebuilt. There's no way to have the new system running at the same time as the old because we have to use the same hardware and do a full rebuild down to the hypervisor. So it is a mess and very, very dangerous, and we have to get a good backup. And I spent a lot of time yesterday getting a good backup, only to have the drive that holds the backups fail today. Luckily, it failed just before we shut down the server, or we'd have been in really, really bad shape because every backup they've ever had, even the ones going back to 2018, is gone. Everything. So that was a very exciting evening. But we didn't even get started for a long time. They were supposed to be closed today and decided not to be, and so they were supposed to close at 5 but decided not to close till 6. So instead of being closed all day or closing early, They closed late on a day that we had to do a crazy amount of work. That was really foolish on their part and really annoying, because it just increased our danger level so much. And that's why we have Paul on site, is because this is so risky. And I tried to be there myself, but because of the funeral, it just wasn't an option. And I'm just going to turn this because we have Mia being crazy. And she's so silly. This is what she does every day. Just runs around and inspects all the different points of the fence. So we ended up working on that in the car for a very long time, and just hours of it from the car, doing as much as I could. They were very busy, and it was very stressful. And then we got a hotel in Jackson, Tennessee. Dominica wanted to stop a little bit earlier because I think we had a Hilton Garden maybe for 104 in Dixon. But I wanted to drive further, and we found a DoubleTree for 107, which $3 more for the DoubleTree, total win. So we drove on to Jackson, which is just a little bit, maybe about an hour east of Memphis. It's pretty much a perfect spot to stop because Memphis is the big city. You don't want to deal with that for stopping, and you don't want to go past Memphis because then you get into the empty part of Arkansas, and that's just, there's no hotels. There's nowhere to stop until you get to Little Rock, which is several more hours. So if you miss Jackson, you're committed pretty much to going to Little Rock. And that's just, it's not worth it. At that point, you might as well drive on home, right? So we made it to Jackson, which means we did the bulk of our driving today, and we've got plenty to do tomorrow. When we got to Jackson, we had not been able to find food that Luciana wanted all day, which really sucked. So we finally got to Jackson, and we went to the Burger King, but it was so late. It was about 10 o'clock as we were getting into Jackson. We were worried that everything was going to close because it was about 9:50. So we swung into 5 miles short of Jackson and went to the Burger King there because Dominica's able to eat their Impossible Whopper, and there's pretty much no other restaurant that we know we're going to find that reliably she's able to eat. So it's important to be able to get that as one on the road. So we stopped, and Lisa likes the Impossible Whopper as long as we get it on the potato roll instead of the seeded bun, because for whatever reason Lisa doesn't like sesame seeds, which are like my favorite. So I got a regular Impossible Whopper. Lisa got one with no onions, no tomatoes, and no sesame seeds, and Dominica got one with no tomatoes and no onions, no lettuce and no onions. And the same thing for Lisa. I said lettuce, but I said tomatoes. It's lettuce and onions she doesn't get. And so we all had that for dinner. Then for Luciana, we spotted a pizza place that looked like a little local spot. It's not, it's a chain. Jet's Pizza, right by the Burger King on the east side of Jackson. Ran in there, and I bought 3 slices because they sell by the slice, which is great. Turns out it's deep dish, so a slice is pretty hefty. That's why they sell that way. And I ordered 3, thinking Chana normally will eat 2 or 3, and if there's a little bit left over, just a Whopper is my only meal. It's a little bit light for me. I should know I did have a Subway half sandwich at lunch, just veggies, so more or less a salad on bread. But I felt that I needed something kind of on the healthy side, so I grabbed that. And so we grabbed this pizza, and they had to make it for us, so we had to wait about 12 minutes. And they're like, oh, sorry for the wait, and give us a free slice. So we got 4 slices for the price of 3, plus some ranch dipping sauce. That was great. Then we just drove on to the DoubleTree and ate our dinner at the hotel, which was pretty handy. And it turns out the great find for the night is Jet's Pizza. It's a chain. I don't know where they're out of, but they call themselves Detroit style, so I'm assuming that they're from Detroit. And this was by far the best deep dish pizza I have ever had. Luciana loved it. Liesl didn't get a chance to try it because she was full. Dominica took the tiniest bite and thought it was amazing. I was just so happy with it, and their dipping sauce was great. And I did some research, and there's actually a Jet's Pizza in Frisco, just one town northeast of us in Texas. So we're totally going to be able to get Jet's Pizza anytime we want, which is awesome. So now it's part of our rotation, and it's not like normal pizza. It doesn't compete with our Domino's. It doesn't compete with our Ralph's. It doesn't compete with the food we get back home. It's just this Detroit-style deep dish, absolutely amazing, different pizza. I am psyched that we're going to be able to get that and add it to our food rotation at home, as is Luciana and Dominica, because they both just loved it, and Lisa wants to try it. So that was awesome that we found that. And then once we were done eating, I got logged in on my laptop. I've got my Dell Inspiron, and got to work and ended up working with Paul until he went to bed around 10:30, and then with Alan until he went to bed around midnight, and then I worked until about 1:30, took a shower and went to bed, knowing that I needed the mist and everything, so my sinuses would be good. And so got to bed pretty close to sleep, pretty close to 2. It's going to be a pretty short night. Paul's expecting to get up between 4 or 5 to check on the progress, but I finally got, after all that time, we think we have a drive that's going to work to put the backups on, and I think I came up with a process that's going to take a backup. It is running through the night, and we're hoping in the morning that we have some good news. Otherwise, tomorrow's going to be really rough. We tried doing a straight copy of the files that we had, and it was going to take 21 hours over the network is what it estimated after like an hour or 2 of running, and Alan and I made the judgment call. We had to bail on it and figure something else out. So it's my figure something else out that seems to be working, and we'll know more in the morning. So it was a very long day of driving. We drove most of the way to Texas, and a very long day of work stuff that we just don't have an answer for of how it's going to go. And so I'll be up early in the morning with Paul to see what has happened and figure out what our next steps are. I wrote up as much documentation as I can so that they're ready in the morning to work without me for a little bit, and we'll see how we do. But luckily, it's a DoubleTree, so super comfortable and should be good for sleeping tonight. Talk to everybody tomorrow.